forests cover a third of the Earth's land. Most of them are simply quiet, green, and unremarkable. But a handful of them are different. In these places, compasses spin without reason. Trees grow in shapes no botanist can fully explain. People walk in and are never seen again. And for centuries, the people who live nearby have agreed on one thing: don't go in after dark. Science has tried to explain most of it: magnetic rock, unusual soil, low-frequency infrasound that makes the mind play tricks. And yet, some of it remains exactly where it started, unexplained. Let's walk into 7 of the strangest forests on Earth and see how much of the mystery survives daylight. On the edge of the city of Cluj-Napoca in Romania sits an ordinary-looking oak forest called Hoia Baciu. Locals call it the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. The story goes that a shepherd named Baciu once walked into these woods with 200 sheep. Neither he nor the flock were ever found. No one knows when this happened or if it happened at all. But the name stuck, and so did the warning. In 1968, a military technician photographed something hovering above a clearing deep in the forest, a bright, disc-shaped light with no explanation. He lost his job for sharing it. The clearing where he took that photo still exists today. Nothing grows there. Not grass, not moss, nothing. Visitors report sudden waves of nausea, unexplained anxiety, and electronics that simply stop working the deeper they walk in. Some describe missing time, walking in at noon, and somehow emerging hours later than they expected. To this day, no death, no disappearance, and no supernatural event connected to Hoia Baciu has ever been formally confirmed. And yet the forest remains in the eyes of the people who live around it, a place you simply do not enter after dark. At the base of Mount Fuji lies a forest so dense and so quiet that it's known as Chukai, the Sea of Trees. Aokigahara grew directly on top of hardened volcanic rock, left behind after Mount Fuji's last major eruption over 1,000 years ago. The porous lava beneath the forest floor absorbs sound almost completely, which is part of why the forest feels so unnervingly still. Compasses are said to behave strangely here too, though scientists point to the natural magnetism in the volcanic rock itself as the likely cause. For centuries, Aokigahara has held a place in Japanese folklore as home to yurei, restless spirits of the dead. In more recent history, the forest has also carried a heavier, more somber reputation, one that has made it a place of quiet remembrance rather than a place to romanticize. Beyond its darker history, Aokigahara is also simply a remarkable natural space, home to black bears, rare bats, ice caves that stay frozen year-round, and a rich, largely undisturbed ecosystem. It is a forest that holds both immense natural beauty and immense human weight at exactly the same time. In southwestern Germany, the Schwarzwald, the Black Forest, earned its name from the sheer density of its fir trees, packed so tightly that sunlight barely reaches the ground even at midday. This is the forest that gave the Brothers Grimm their darkest material. Tales of witches living in gingerbread houses, wolves in disguise, and hidden treasure guarded by unseen forces all trace back to these woods. Locals still tell stories of a towering, faceless figure said to lure children deeper into the trees, never to return, a legend that, centuries later, would echo strangely in modern internet folklore about a tall, thin figure in a suit. Whether or not any of it is true, one thing about the Black Forest is undeniable. Standing beneath its canopy in near total darkness in the middle of the day, it is easy to understand exactly how these stories were born. Near the small town of Gryfino in northwestern Poland stands one of the strangest sights in the natural world. Over 400 pine trees, all bent sharply at their base, curving nearly 90 degrees before straightening upward and growing normally. The trees were planted in the 1930s, and whatever caused this uniform, deliberate-looking curve happened while they were still young saplings, roughly 10 years into their growth. No one alive today knows exactly why. Some believe it was intentional human shaping, meant for building curved timber for furniture or boat hulls. Others point to a heavy snowfall that pinned the young trees down for years, Neither theory has ever been confirmed. What's left is a small, quiet grove of trees that all bend in the exact same direction, at the exact same angle. A patch of forest that looks unmistakably like it's frozen mid-motion. On the island of Madagascar lies a landscape unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. A forest built not from soft ground, but from razor-sharp limestone spires rising as high as a 10-story building. Locals call it Singi, the place where one cannot walk barefoot. Rain and time carve these limestone needles over millions of years, creating a maze of blades, canyons, and hidden caves so dense and dangerous that large parts of it remain almost entirely unexplored. And yet somehow life thrives here. Rare lemurs move along the canopy that grows above the stone spires, adapted to a world most other animals can't survive in. Species found nowhere else on the planet have made their home in the gaps between the blades. It's a forest that seems built to keep humans out, and in doing so, it has protected one of the strangest and most untouched ecosystems left on Earth. In the Brittany region of France lies a forest that has been rewritten by legend so many times. It's hard to say where the myth ends and the woodland begins. Brocéliande is said to be the setting of the King Arthur legends. The forest where the wizard Merlin was ultimately trapped by the sorceress Vivienne, and where the enchantress Morgan Le Fay is said to have lured unfaithful knights into a valley from which they could never return, known simply as the Valley of No Return. A massive fire tore through much of the forest in the 1990s, destroying huge sections of ancient woodland. In the years that followed, 500,000 new trees were planted, and the forest slowly grew back, legend and all. Today, visitors still walk these paths searching for Merlin's tomb, a real megalithic stone structure that locals have long associated with the legendary wizard, proof that some forests don't need ghosts or UFOs to feel haunted. Sometimes an old story is enough. 7 forests, 7 very different stories. A dead clearing where nothing grows. A quiet sea of trees at the base of a mountain. A wall of fir trees, dark enough to raise a wolf out of pure imagination. A grove of trees bent by a mystery no one solved. A forest of stone blades. A valley that swallowed knights who broke their promises. Science can explain some of this. Magnetic rock, heavy snowfall, sound-absorbing volcanic stone. The human mind's remarkable ability to feel dread in silence and shadow. But maybe that's not really the point. Long before we had explanations for anything, forests were the edge of what we understood, the place where the map ran out and the story began. Maybe some part of us still needs that. A place left slightly unexplained. A place that reminds us the world is still in small pockets, wilder and stranger than we've mapped it to be. So the next time you walk into a forest, any forest, and feel that quiet, unexplainable sense that something is watching from between the trees, maybe don't explain it away too quickly.